Saraswati ma'am, here you go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Sabunji. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Our honorable guest, David Maynard, the Director of English and English Education at the British Council, Bangladesh, Professor Arifa Rahman, the past president of BELTA, and Professor Lakshman Gewali, Senior Vice President of NELTA, all our respected speakers of this Binational Success Story Forum, and all the participants who have joined us today. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to our first session. Let me also use this opportunity to thank the Hornby Trust UK for supporting us to organize this event, and our guest speakers who have kindly accepted our invitation. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. We are very much delighted to have you here. I would also like to thank all our presenters for showing their interest in sharing their success stories with us. We are very pleased to get this opportunity to work with you all. You might have noticed that this Binational Success Story Forum aims at developing a unique platform where English as a foreign language teachers can share their own stories and support other teachers. So in other words, we are planning to create a kind of community of practice through which we can learn from each other. So I would like to inform you that we have received 20 speaker proposals, and we are going to organize 5 sharing sessions. In each session, there will be 4 presentations, 2 from Nepal and 2 from Bangladesh. Since Nepal and Bangladesh share similar context in terms of teaching and learning practices of English, we truly believe that our sharing sessions will be equally instrumental for all the teachers from both the countries. So once again, I would like to thank our presenters for their willingness to be a part of our forum. Thank you so much. We are very much looking forward to listening to your stories. And thank you all for joining us today. All of you are heartily welcome to this session. By the way, I think I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. It's me, Saraswati Dawari. I'm originally from Nepal. I'm currently working as a research associate at the Open University UK. So now I would like to request our colleague, Dr. Ramashish Giri sir, to briefly talk about the aims and objectives of our Binational Success Story Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. My name is Ram. Again, some noise anyway. Ram Giri from Monash University English Language Center here in Melbourne. I joined this project because I believe in teacher power. The stories of their struggle, the stories of their successes, they are all very powerful. And I am fascinated, as you all are, by the way the stories that they have to share. I want to know them. I want to listen to them, and I learn from them. Through these forums, we bring you their stories, teachers' stories in teachers' own language. Now, so far as the objectives are concerned, I think Saraswati has already mentioned it. I'm just going to reiterate. The objective is threefold. The first one is to provide a channel, a space to these teachers of these 2 countries, Bangladesh and Nepal. Elsewhere, and David would agree with me, they have opportunities to share, they have networks to share. In our part of the world, we don't have enough opportunity to share our stories. So the first aim of this forum is to provide a space through which ELT practitioners of these 2 countries come together to share their struggle, their stories. The second one, as Sarah has already mentioned, is to build a community of practice, a community in which they value each other's expertise and they support each other to enhance their everyday practices. And the third one, of course, is to create a platform, a forum where they come together and share their stories in order to learn from each other. Okay, so briefly, these are the three objectives of the Success Stories Forum. So again, I welcome you to the session. Now, I would like to invite one of the guest speakers, who I think is equally passionate about teachers' stories, someone who is inspired by teachers and is passionate about how they do things and how they bring lives in the ELT classrooms. He says, teachers are among those who thrive and achieve high during the difficult times. David, I was checking your profiles and I got this from your profile. So I'm very happy to introduce David Maynard, who is the Director of Education at the British Council, Dhaka. So, David, please.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon to you all. Good morning, I guess, if you're in the UK, Sarah. Good evening, Ram, if you're in Melbourne. So we're truly pan-continental in this this meeting, which is great to see. Great to see that we've got so many people from so many different continents, all interested in the same thing. It's wonderful to be a part of this success. And success stories are so important, particularly at the moment, given we've had this very, very difficult year, 2020, where pretty much all education systems around the world closed down. And of course, in Bangladesh, the whole education system is still closed, having closed last year in mid-March. We are still awaiting the reopening of the education system, possibly after Eid in mid-May. And I know that Nepal as well has had its fair share of closures during the pandemic of the last year. I think many of us hoped that at the end of 2020, we breathed a sigh of relief and thought, that's out of the way. Now we can look forward positively to 2021 and getting on with our lives again and a degree of normality. Sadly, of course, that's not necessarily turned out to be the case. And what we are seeing is that the struggles which both countries and countries around the world face in terms of ongoing education are as present today as they were a year ago, sadly. It's great to see two countries in the region working together. Obviously, countries that have some differences in terms of geography and population size, but many similarities as well in terms of the challenges that we face in getting the education systems back up and working. Challenges that have been particularly difficult for teachers, for parents, for teacher educators, and obviously for the administrators of education systems. I work predominantly with the ministries of education here in Bangladesh and at a sort of system level. And it's when you consider the sheer scale and magnitude of trying to stop and restart an education system, it's an enormous undertaking. And my hat is off to the people who manage these systems. And they might not be perfect, but they do it with the best intentions and obviously looking after the health of all of those involved. But of course, it's great to see events like today where we have the grassroots, the teachers who are on the ground in the classroom, whether it's face-to-face or virtual, and dealing with the students and sharing their experiences, sharing their success stories. And this is going to be crucial in the years and months ahead. On behalf of British Council, we are very happy to be supporting this and the Hornby scholarships as well. And of course, on behalf of my colleagues, British Council colleagues, and Vaishali and her colleagues in the Nepal office, very happy to support this as well. Looking forward to seeing the presentations today and over the next couple of weeks as well. And looking forward to finding a way where we can get these messages out further and how we can use our various platforms to share this beyond just this group of people on the call today, more widely. So very happy to receive any kinds of suggestions you might have in terms of how we can share this more widely. Thank you for inviting me. I wish you every success in this very important endeavor, and I look forward to hearing how people have dealt with these in very creative ways. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And it's very pleasing to hear from David that the British Council, Dhaka, and I'm sure the British Council, Kathmandu as well, will be helping us beyond this project as well. At that point, I would like to invite Sagun Srestha, who is a doctoral candidate at City University Dublin, to talk about the project outcome. Say, Sagunji, please.
Yes, thanks a lot, Ramsar. Yeah, and thanks everyone for joining British Council, NELTA, BELTA in Nepal and Bangladesh for support as well. So we have the representatives from both institutions too. I mean, institutions from both countries as well. So yeah, definitely. First of all, it is an attempt to value teachers' expertise, right? Teachers' expertise, and then building on their successes as well. So we hope that this is a great platform. So the project outcomes are, the first one is to make colleagues network and collaborate together. So being in a community of practice, this is the first learning outcome that we'd like to achieve. And next is to learn about context sensitive strategies, because you all will be bringing this
to the conference, and it will be a great success. And good luck to the presenters here. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gavali, and for your encouraging words. Saraswati?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now it's our pleasure to introduce our respected Madam Professor Arifa Rahman, who is a former professor of English language at University of Dhaka. She is currently a research consultant at the BRAC University. So she is established academic with long years of experience as a language teacher, teacher educator, and curriculum developer. She has researched widely into classroom teaching practices, inequality in language policy, low resource settings, and the development of language teachers through professional associations. She also has so many publications in reputable journals, and she has also published so many book chapters. Thank you so much, Arifa ma'am, to be with us here today. Now over to you.
Good afternoon, salam and namaste. I'd like to congratulate the organizers of this Binational Forum for a timely approach to the new normal that the world has adopted in recent times, due, as we all know, to the unprecedented changes and challenges brought about by the COVID situation. What this forum has done is exemplary in two ways. First, the organizers themselves have carried out a cross-country study entitled Online Education During the Pandemic, Stories from Bangladesh and Nepal, which they presented at the 9th BELTA International Conference, the online conference last month. But more significantly, they've used this Hornby Trust Alumni Award to run this current project on promoting digital competencies of teacher educators in Bangladesh and Nepal through the enhancement approach. I'd like to focus on the term enhancement approach. As Lakshman has actually said, that we actually, in this part of the world, we look at challenges and deficiencies and kind of, feel almost guilty about things that go wrong. But this enhancement approach, this kind of supportive, collaborative approach is extremely important for our teachers. This the digital competency of English language, English as a foreign language teachers and teacher educators from Bangladesh and Nepal, particularly focuses on valuing their own expertise. And we now have these 20 papers in these sessions that are coming every fortnight. And today, of course, we have the first session. Now, today's presentation focuses on communication skills and on technology in teaching and learning. And I can see there is Amin Rahman. He's a Bangladeshi language educator based in Australia, and his team is presenting his Adda in English. We all know what Adda is. I actually attended one of these Addas and found it amazingly engaging and thoroughly enjoyable. And I'm sure the second, third, and the fourth papers today will be equally interesting. The focus of this forum is significant in two ways. First, the concept of collaboration, this partnering and sharing that is nurtured. As we have repeatedly said, we are trying to build a community of practice, and what Lakshman has also commented on, and creating a synergy so that teachers get together and move forward. So we have these neighboring regions with comparable demographies, cultures, and settings, and adopting a learning from each other approach, a partnership between two similar regions. And the second and the most noteworthy point I would like to make is that the forum has focused more on the affordances, the positive factors, that rather than the challenges and the constraints. And since this online modality entered the field of education, studies and analyses seem to have focused more on the challenges and the difficulties and the negative aspects. And the fact that this forum is actually playing up the affordances and the positive factors is certainly, a great step forward, and hence the title Success Stories. It may be small, localized stories, but it does give voice to teachers in the field who are doing their best, not only to cope with difficulties, but also to be innovative, creative, and courageous. And so, hats off to these teachers and educators who are applying themselves so sincerely to these new realities in today's world. And congratulations again to the forum organizers.
Okay, thank you so much, madam, for your, hello? Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your beautiful remarks. Once again, I would like to thank you all our respected guests for joining us today and for your delightful remarks. Now we are going to start our sharing sessions. We would definitely love to have you here in our sharing sessions, but we appreciate that you are extremely busy, so please feel free to leave the session if you want to do so. Now let's move to our first sharing session. So I would like to introduce our first presenters. Amin Rahman, I think he is making a good presentation. So he is of, Mr. Rahman is of Bangladeshi origin, but he's been living in Melbourne since 1980. He has obtained several degrees, including bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, MSc research degree in computing, and MA in applied linguistics. Similarly, he has worked in 8 different countries. He retired in 2003, and since then he's been involved in teaching English and the use of computers to underprivileged school dropouts in Dhaka. He is co-presenting today with his colleague Sarif and Fatima. So Sarif is Sarif has graduated in English literature and he has completed Masters in English education. Currently, he is a lecturer in English at Adamji Cantonment College, Dhaka. And Fatima has completed her MSc in sociology and she is currently working as a teacher at Muhibur Rahman Academy, Bangladesh. Over to you, Amin, and your team. Yeah, before you start, I would like to request Ram Ashish Giri sir to chair the session.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, now Amin and his team, please start your session now. You have 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Can you see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, thank you very much, everybody. The organizers, particularly Ram from Melbourne and the three S's from England, Ireland, and Bangladesh, respectively, for organizing such an innovative program for promoting international collaboration in ELT. Now, every Bengali, both from Bangladesh and West Bengal, know what the word adda, the topic of our presentation today, means, and they partake in this activity whenever they get a chance. This is also an adda. Today's session is an adda. It is not my concept. I did not coin this word. I just use the century-old custom as an approach to teaching spoken English and listening. Okay, now I'll start the presentation. Okay, these are the three speakers. And now I'll start with, again, defining what is adda in English. Adda means expressing oneself. Now, adda is very popular activity or pastime for Bengalis, as I said before, and there's a very good article by Trachtenberg, which you must read if you're interested. And in adda, there's normally no fixed topic, addabas. They sit together and talk about anything and everything. And we think that adda sharpens one's mind and thinking capacity. In adda English, the discussion takes place in English, not in Bengali, mainly to help develop and improve the English speaking skills of the addabas. Okay, this is our adda. So you see group adda is taking place here, where people from London, Melbourne, Dhaka, Sylhet, and Kumilla are taking part in a group adda. And here there's a one-to-one adda between a mentee in Sylhet and mentor in Melbourne. Okay, so how does group adda in English work? All five, we started with 6, all 5 addabas are volunteers. They were taken on a first come, first serve basis. And all addabas, as well as a few mentors who are free at the time, like Najma, she visits us quite often. In this session, by turn, each addabas has to talk about anything for 5 minutes in English. They do not get any preset topic to prepare. As one round takes about 30 minutes, each addabat gets 3 turns. Now, this is a control adda. So each person gets roughly equal time to talk. While an addabat is talking, others cannot disturb him or her. If anyone has any comments about someone's talk, he can express them when his or her turn comes, okay? Now, how does one-on-one adda in English work? An addabas, mentee, talks with a mentor living outside Bangladesh. Okay, so we have currently 20 mentors of different age groups, 2 English, 3 Australian, and 1 American. Others are of Bangladeshi origin, long-time residents in these countries. Each of these mentors agreed to talk to one Addabas on one-on-one basis once a week. The Addabas who were very busy during the pandemic, preparing and delivering online classes, make time to contact and talk to about 4 mentors in a week. Now, these Addas have lasted from 30 minutes to 4 hours in one instance. Such talks expose mentees to different English accents. There are accents all over the world, and make them confident English speakers. The Addabas now no longer feel shy. After each mentor-mentee talk, a mentee writes comments about the talk. Mentors who feel like also give feedback. Now, comments are all stored. Now, what went well related to my teaching and learning? All Addabas improved in their speaking fluency. From zero speaking to fluent speaker they have become. Okay, in pronunciation, in English vocabulary, in English grammar, in their writing, because they write comments. So there also they get some practice. In their general knowledge about different topics, culture, accent, countries, talking to different mentors, in their overall confidence, particularly in speaking and listening. Okay, now what did I do categorically to achieve success? Now I created, I think, a very friendly environment. The weekly session is very friendly. The mentors are all friendly people, as you have seen one of the mentors here, and are keen to help. And we do not have a teacher-student environment. No sirring, no madaming, no bhai, no appa. Everybody refers to the other person as either Mr. or Miss, okay? And they do not feel frightened and nervous. They feel that they're talking to a family member and getting advice and learning about different things, music, even bringing up a child, okay? Now, what did I do categorically to achieve my success? First of all, we use very senior, mostly retired and experienced mentors with a lot of experience, both in their fields and other matters, and very high teacher-student ratio. We have a very 5 students to 20 teachers compared to 100 plus students to 1 teacher in Bangladesh schools, or 1 teacher to 25 students in the West. Now, very high discussion consultation time with mentors. They get at least 4 hours per week compared to 1 to 2 hours per month research students get with their supervisors. Okay. Now, what were the signs for success? Mentees continuing in spite of many difficulties. And comments by mentees and mentors show clear signs of success. One mentor, who is IELTS examiner, gives his assessment about each mentee's possible IELTS score that is gradually improving. And one Aussie mentor, pure Aussie mentor, not like me, is saying that the mentees initially understood him about 60%. And now, after 3 months, that has gone above 90%. Mentees have started similar programs in the form of speaking clubs with their students. And mentees are continuing after 15 weeks and paying a small fee, which goes towards charity. Okay, do I have any plan to build on or extend the success? I've asked mentees to spread the program within the school to students and colleagues and community. They've already started. And we are prepared to help other interested parties anywhere, Bangladesh and Nepal or anywhere else, to start similar programs. That is why we have joined this forum, okay? All right. Now, this is the brief profile of the current 5 mentees. You'll see they're in the age range 25 to 35, okay, young. And this is the, brief profiles of the mentors. Now, you'll see they're of different age groups, but you'll see some green colored items, which are mentors who are in my age group. They are all my school fellows or college fellows or university fellows. There are about 9 of them spread all over the world, okay? Now, this is just an example of a schedule we make. Here you see one mentor, NI, speaks to the same mentee 3 weeks in succession. Okay, MR. All right. All right. So this is now I have said, okay, I've done this thing. I've cooked up this thing program. Okay. Now in English, you're all English teacher. You know the very famous proverb, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Okay. I have given you this pudding. This is the group adda pudding, and this is the one-to-one adda pudding. But they look very nice, but do they taste as good? That is what we are going to see next. This Sharif ul Islam will talk about group adda pudding, and Fatima Farid will talk about the one-to-one pudding. Okay, so I hand over the microphone to Sharif. Sharif.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Amin, for giving me the floor. Hello, everyone. This is Sharif from Dhaka, Bangladesh. I'm going to talk about activities in weekly group Adda in English. This Adda takes place from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on every Saturday on Zoom. There are 3 round Adda sessions. In each round goes with 30 minutes, where all the mentees can speak for 5 minutes by turn. No preset topic is given for the talk, where all Addabas speak the topic on the fly, I mean on their own request. All right. So these Adda goes with a very friendly and informal manner, because here all the mentees can talk freely, frankly. So mentees have to go through different performance, like telling stories or singing phonic songs or loud reading with intonation. So here guest or visitor also gets involved in Adda, and sometimes chief mentors chief mentors our chief mentors shows demonstration in our mistakes, and everybody we get individual feedback at the end of the Adda. Next. Now I'm going to talk about how group Adda is successful. This Adda is being successful in many ways, many respects. This Adda session is being held on every Saturday, where 100% attendance expected. If someone is unable to attend, he or she has to notify. During entire Adda session, video camera of all attendees are on. All Addabas have improved pronunciation by reciting phonic songs and nursery rhymes, learning new vocabularies, practicing new sounds, etc. So here all the mentees can check their problems or mistakes in speaking from the recorded audio from the previous session. Our mentees always, they're keeping the records of clocking hours of speaking and listening on Google Sheet. Next. How and what mentees learn from group Adda? Mentees learn to talk in English on any topic. Mentees learn to listen to others talk, where always mentees have to be careful about what other talked, because anytime our chief mentor can ask question at the end of the session. So they're learning correct pronunciation of multisyllabic words with stress in English speech. They're learning different words, stress in sentence to make their meaning clear, and they're learning how to intonate while speaking and improve their speaking style with intelligible sounds. They're learning new words and expressions from listening and speaking. They're learning from the demonstration of the chief mentor. Next. This is a wonderful thing. How have mentees improved by attending group Adda? Here is given a comparative scenario of the mentees' performance before 3 months, how they were, and after 3 months, what happened to them. Before 3 months, all mentees were very shy to speak English, but they're not shy anymore. They didn't know about English sounds like fa, va, wa, za. So already they internalized most of the sounds. They didn't have any idea about stressing on syllables in multisyllabic words, or stressing in sentences and intonation even. Gradually they become aware and learning these features. They had a few English expressions but they learned more expressions after this 3 months program. They had a fear of presentation in public speech or on audience. So, and they had fear also in appearing at interview. They didn't fear anymore. They had limited vocabularies. They enriched their vocabularies more extent. They didn't know about even how to maintain Google Sheet or Google Docs. They can easily handle these things. And they had a little tendency to speak English, but they speak quite open with others right now. Then they knew the little talking etiquette, but they know talking etiquette quite well. They had a trouble with babbling or stumbling while speaking and what to say, when to say, but they can speak fluently and coherently. Even they didn't have any idea about the probable IELTS score in speaking, listening, but they already know about it. So next. Yes, here I can share about the outcome of this ADDA, where all mentees are using this model in teaching and learning spoken English. They're conducting ADDA in English as English language clubs for teenage students or adults. They're getting good response from the learners. Learners are regular, number is increasing, and their learners, they're paying a little fee to avoid the dropouts. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over my microphone to my co-mentee, Ms. Fatima Farid.
Thanks, Mr. Sharif, for giving me the floor.
Yeah, you have 5 minutes.
Now I'm going to talk about what happens in one-on-one ADDA. The mentee has to take an appointment from the mentor as per his or her schedule. Mentor and mentee speak in a friendly atmosphere. Mentor normally allows the mentee to do the most of the talking to give his or her speaking practice and so on. Next. Here we see a mentor and mentee are talking. Next. Following the next two slides, legends show different colors. Here green means the conversation took place. Blue means conversation didn't take place. Mentor was busy or unwell. Red means the mentee missed the talk. And pink means the mentee was on leave. And so on. Next. And round two, already I demonstrated the colors. We see round two, most of the conversation took place as per schedule from the green boxes, and blue we know about that mentor was unwell and busy, and pink from pink boxes we can see that mentee was on leave. Next. From this chart, we see the result of conversation that took place in green, 60%. In red, 8% conversation didn't take place. Mentee means mentor talks. And in blue, 7% the talk did not take place. Mentor was busy or unwell. And in pink, 11% conversation did not take place. Mentee was on leave. Next. This slide defines the different types of talking hours. Mentor hours, non-mentor hours, listening only hours, and listening in conversation hours. Next. Here we see 4 landmarks in speaking and listening hours. Landmark 1 says that mentee needs 25 hours, non-mentor hours 75, only listening 50 hours, and listening in conversation 50 hours. Landmarks 2 and 3 and 4 require the different level of speaking hours and listening hours. Next. Here we see a sample of records, the Google Sheet. Mentor hours are 25 hours, non-mentor hours 62, and listening in conversation 77, and only listening 66. That is the end of my presentation. Now I'm going to hand over the microphone to my mentor, Mr. Amin Rahman. Thank you.
Yeah.
Unmute, please.
Unmute, Amin.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so thank you very much, both of you, Fatima Farid and Shariful Islam. And this is our teaching model, saplings to forest. So this is an individual mentee. I water them and they grow up. And this is, once they grow up, they form their from this English speaking club, and this is the mango trees. So in time, we'll have lots and lots of mango trees, and we'll have the orchard or forest, which people from other places will come and see. And we can have similar orchards and forest in Nepal or other places. Okay, with that, I end our presentation. Thank you very much again to the host and all the guests for listening to us. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Amin, and the team for completing your presentation on time. Very informative, very well researched, well organized, and well presented. Please note that there is a question and answer session at the end. So if you please make a note of the questions that you would like to ask this group, that would be handy. At the end of the session. So we'll have a Q&A session at the end of all our presentations. Okay, Sagunji?
Yeah, thanks, thanks, Ramsar, and yeah, Amin, for initiating with wonderful presentation. I have some comment which I'll put at the end. So right now, let me introduce second presenter of today's session. She is Puspa Priya, who is an MPhil scholar at Kathmandu University School of Education. She is a lecturer of English at various colleges of Kathmandu, and she's also writing in national dailies like the Himalayan Times and the Rising Nepal. As regards her teaching experiences, she has 9 years of experience for teaching undergraduate students. She has demonstrated her abilities in diverse fields such as teaching, coordinating social event management, skills development instructor, or capacity building trainer for the program for social cause entitled Children for the Children. She has also dealt with refugees while working at UNHCR, where she worked as a language instructor. So it shows like she has very diverse experience. And today she is going to present her success story entitled Celebrating Student Success in Mass Facing Skills. So over to you, Puspa Priya, madam.
Yes, namaste and good afternoon to all the very distinguished guests over here and the well organizers of this Binational Success Story Forum. It is really my immense pleasure to get this an opportunity. I would really like to thank the Kathmandu University School of Education, who has formally given us the invitation to invite over this and to submit the abstract. Also, my gratitude goes to Professor Ram Assis sir, who also has given me this information, and I'm really very grateful for this. I'm really very happy, and it is my first presentation, binational presentation, and I would like to share my screen. So my laptop today is a little bit slow accessing. I'm going to share a screen. If I'll have any problem, then I think I will take your help to share my slides that I have already sent. Let me share my screen. Where to go for this? How to go for my savings? Stop saving.
Saganji, how
Yes,
about we,
yeah,
we share the
yeah.
screen.
Is that okay, Pushpa?
So,
In case
yeah,
you have want to.
Yes, so
yeah.
please, could you please share the slide, sir? I could present from here.
Okay, that's all right. So let me share the screen for you. So,
Yeah.
okay, let me,
Okay.
just a minute, please. Let me run it as a
Not so. Okay,
presentation
thank you
mode.
for showing it.
Not
Well, my topic is celebrating student success in mass facing skills or in facing mass facing skills. So first of all, I'd like to give my introduction. This is Pushpa Priya, this lecturer of English at KNK International College and many other colleges here. And I'm also doing MPhil from Kathmandu University School of Education. Besides, I'm a columnist at English National Daily of Nepal, like the Himalayan Times, the Rising Nepal. I do regularly write or contribute for columns. And here today, I am glad to share about my success story regarding in my teaching field. This is a celebrating student success. Yeah, like teaching, first of all, I'd like to define teaching. In my opinion, it is a platform where the teacher imparts a knowledge to the students. The more they say, the more they learn. In this process, we can find that teaching is a two-way process where there should be the active participation from the both sides. Yeah, and even I would like to give a definition first about education. What I perceive is education is a manifestation within, and it is a journey of transformation. Yeah, which makes one best of best in society in terms of purity, love, peace, happiness. In fact, I'm inspired by a Swami Vivekananda on the concept of education, like its purpose is to manifest the divine manifestation within that is already inside us. And that is like to achieve the golden qualities that used to be in the golden period of time, golden age. Yeah, so like I took challenges as an yes, so please go through, could you please go through the previous slides? Yeah, once. Yeah. Well, so I find the different kind of challenges during my initial years of teaching. Really, to be a teacher for undergraduate students, it demands a lot of attention. It demands a lot of courage to handle the students, especially of the large class. There, I faced a lot of challenges, and then it was somewhere a process to give up. Though with my courage, I took it as a learning, I took it as an opportunity. And then the best thing what I did is I worked on myself. I thought that like the teachers are the ones who have to learn first to develop the professionalism, because that may impact some good on students. So first I thought it as a challenges, and I took it as a learning part, I took as an opportunity, and then I just invest over there. So could you please, sir, could you please, yeah. So I took challenges as an opportunity, as it improved both me and my students. Yeah. So basically I have worked in these areas like emotional intelligence. What I find is that emotional intelligence is just like to channelize your emotions in a positive direction, like to first being aware of on emotions and how our emotions impact others. For this, what I did is I am inspired by psychologist Daniel Goleman. I went through the studies of emotional intelligence. I started working on myself, and to very some extent it worked. Like when some students get into a problem of my teaching content, and when they go for some mixed kind of emotions, someone are happy, someone are sad, someone are anger at the initial stage, without knowing these contents, it was a bit difficult and challenging to go through. Then I worked on it, and then I used to go for how to manage my emotions carefully, so that it can have a part of learning to their ways also. And then after, definitely the most important thing is commanding the subject matter or mastery over the subject of the teaching. So what I did is I just went through commanding all the subject matter that I supposed to teach. And after commanding those subject matter really made me prepared. And then after the deliverance with a positive mindset, then it went well. So like presenting skills, self-discipline, effective communication skills, these are really helping the students. Yeah. And these are like communication skills are also very important. Like when you make a communication, you have to, it is a two-way process that involves the both listening and speaking. Whenever the listening are distracted, I just worked on myself. What are the things that makes the listener distracted? Is there some weakness on me that I'm not able to give the excellent deliverance? What make them distracted? That like then also I have written about what distract listening skills. Yeah, in my previous years, that was luckily published also in National Daily. Like I found that the listening skills distraction somewhere is like students being a more judgmental before what you know so it start being a judgmental, or some they are in some other world, they are not in the present context, they are with the body consciousness part. So these are some of the areas that really help me, that those are the listening skills part. And then I give a lecture on what distract listening skills and how to make a mind focused with a well managed mind, because the thought process is very important. Well managed thought process is very important in order to go effective teaching and learning process. And then I've even given some tips for presentation skills and how to make the eye contact as to all the students, so that each and every students feel equally important and emphasized. That's what is very important. So this on these areas I actually worked on. And besides it, I also worked on some kind of a mannerism, like a positive mannerism. For example, if someone's pen is dropped or pencil is dropped, I just used to pick up. So I think the teacher also need to have down to earth in this 21st century skills, because somewhere we are also imparting or making an impact on our students. Like then this type of skills really worked and commanded my student in a peaceful way. Like to manage a large class is a really a difficult circumstances. Yeah, and how I did is through this kind of learning in these skills, these areas that somewhere helped me. So could you please move this? Yeah. So what I find is, despite being my students are linguistic competent, they are good at their writing skills, they are good, scored good grades too, good marks. And when I made the students to present the things in mass, they just feel that someone is going to kill them. They are completely overwhelmed with fear. So every teacher said to present something, but how to present? This is also my interest area. No one suggesting how to present. What are the things actually that makes them nervous? So what are going inside their mind? So these are my interested area. And I also did some kind of action research, and it worked somehow. So what I did is I went through a psychological motivation that, okay, you can able to present the same thing at your place, but when I made you to come here and present something, then you become completely distracted with various things. So I think there should something that we need to know and make the students work on it. So what I did is like, I find the students while they're in at their place, they are in the comfort zone. But when they come out of the comfort zone, they are feeling very fear. They are feeling nervous. As a teacher, my success lies in students' success. So what I find is that what I speak is not what I speak and make understand is not only sufficient. I will have to also make them a very efficient and need to imbibe with a professionalism skills, because the students are a future responsible professionals. So for this, what I did is like I worked on it, and then I go through asking some questions. Like I went through some structured interview, like a structured interviews ways, and I set up some questions, and I asked them about what are the emotional things that you are feeling here, what kind of a judgments you are having in your mind, what kind of a language barrier is also there, like the English is a second language. Yeah, and also it's a globalized language, and it's a second language, it's a compulsion or compulsory to learn. So language barrier is also somewhere, and the communication barrier means they are not well acquainted with how to make an effective communication skills, how to develop this. So I took a one-day class with requesting the management to go through these skills development, and with that ways it worked. And even the students who did not speak a sentence in a class confidently came and delivered the presentation, and it was really a moment of happiness for me. Yeah, sir, could you please, sir, move another slides? Yeah. So some strategies that I adopted for enhancing a mass facing skills of my student is, first I go for a positive psychology pedagogy. I think that this pedagogy is really helping the students to develop a self-esteem, because I do not think this is the time to entertain authoritarian teaching skills. This is a time where a teacher needs to be down to earth and have a positive, because these things really makes the students learn. And then after I go through some tips for effective presentation, as I said earlier, and then I give the importance of emotional intelligence. Like what is emotional intelligence? What are the domains, 4 domains of emotional intelligence? In fact, most of the students did not even aware about their having emotions. What kind of emotions? Like fear, anger, yeah, jealousy, yeah, what kind of, or happiness, sadness, they are not aware. But after practicing this, or after integrating this emotional intelligence part for 1 week, they have made a lot of changes. And then I made for the practice the concept of multiple intelligence in my class too. Like I make my students feel everyone is special in their own way. Sometimes, like if they like to express their views in their own way, then someone who is introvert will go through the art presentation. Someone who is good at interpersonal, they come and explore. But the main focus of me is, even for those who are coming with the art, you come here and present whatever you have made through your art, please present in a mass, because it is your fear inside you that makes you nervous. So no one is going to kill you, it's your fear that is killing inside. So just come and speak up. And then they also started, introvert students also started having a good mass facing skills, and they develop it, and they presented very well in English language. And with the practicing of the 1 month, that what happened, I found a change scenario. Some positive changes has been observed. So with practicing for 1 month, a drastic change has been found. The students come up with the confidence and enhance their mass facing skills. Yeah. So, sir, could you please, yeah, mass, and as I feel that
you have 5 minutes.
Yes, mass facing skills is very important, because this skill really helps us to demonstrate many other skills like communication skills, interpersonal skills. So this developing is in, this enhancement is very important, as it helps the students overall development. So they are no more students forever. They have to go very early. Yeah, undergrad students have to go for very early to make their abilities compete in a global marketplace. So while having this kind of abilities, definitely they can make it. So students are our future responsible professionals, and our aim as a teacher is to help students implementing their theoretical knowledge into practice. So only to insert the theoretical knowledge is not our task. We need to make them practice too. And in my opinion, the success lies in my students' success indeed, and feeling delight to share my short success story in front of you all. Thank you, dear all. And yes, I would like to stop here. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Puspa. A very informative and very interesting presentation. Yeah, barriers do play a role, but they play a negative role, and you very nicely, very intelligently outline how those emotional barriers should be or can be removed in order to help them overcome emotional barriers. Thank you very much. Please note that there will be, there is a question answer session, discussion session at the end. So keep your questions to the end. Now, yeah, Saifa.
Thank you, sir. Our third presenter for today's session is Rezwana Islam from Bangladesh. Rezwana Islam is a lecturer at the Center for Language Studies in the University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh. She has worked as a teacher at British Council. Her educational qualification involved MA in English, MA in ELT and CELTA. She is a CELTA-certified TESOL instructor and has taught EFL, EAP learners and conducted IELTS courses. She is passionate about research on educational technology, sustainability in education, role of teacher, learner cognition, and metacognition. So let me welcome Rezwana Islam. The topic of her presentation is aiming for technological pedagogical knowledge, diving in and out. Over to you, Rezwana.
Thank you so much for introducing me, Saifa. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rizwana Islam. And after Miss Pushpa Priya's aim for heart, I'll be aiming for the tech tools. So hopefully both aims will go in the proper place. And let me start my presentation. I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I have 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with a bit of a background of for this presentation or for what's happening. So this is Rizwana 2020. This Rizwana 2020 jumped into or dived into water when suddenly COVID told her that she has to go on for full-fledged online teaching. Now, from my experience at my university, I had trainings on online teaching before, but that was mainly for assessment sort of thing. From my experience at British Council, I also had training on using different apps, but putting it all together and going through the entire experience all together, that was the main challenge for me. And yes, just like this little boy, I had to jump into or dive into the world of resources or the world of online resources just to find something good for myself. And then what happened? Was I able to dive out, or am I still, swimming somewhere? So let's find it out. This is Rezwana Islam, and this is my presentation about we aiming for technological pedagogical knowledge, diving in and out. Currently, I've been working as a lecturer in the Center for Language Studies at the University of Liberal Arts Bangladesh, popularly known as ULAB. So what was the focus when I was aiming for this success? Basically, when this quarantine started, all of us, we were aiming for success. There was this unknown pressure on surviving, and not just surviving, I have to do good, something, a pressure like that. I mean, in regular teaching, I don't know how many teachers count the days when they had a successful class. They're like, okay, the class went on, but suddenly it's online teaching, and suddenly we are so concerned about how good we are. And how good we are, that took us back to our early days of teaching. Someone like me who has 5-6 years of experience in one institution and then 4 years in another institution, I started looking back and like, okay, what's going well, what's going wrong? In this self-competitive mode, I tried to identify some issues, some areas that I need to work on. The main focus was number one, teaching EAP. Well, as like I said, I'm working at ULAB at the Center for Language Studies, and we teach English for academic purpose. So how can I teach it better? How can I keep the students in the academic mode? That was one of the focus. Another focus was developing myself professionally. Let's face it, that pays the big bucks. Well, yeah, that's one. Another one is you feel good about it, because as a teacher, the learning keeps going on. Don't tell my students, they don't believe me. Okay, so the main point was earning TPK, technological pedagogical knowledge, and teaching strategies which are supported by technology. Now I have my strategies, but are they supported by technology? If they are, to what extent, and what sort of steps can I take? From here on, my presentation will also focus on some examples, the things that I have done. I have tried to put together some example websites for you so that you get an idea about what I have done. So the factors that I considered, the first one was teacher-student interaction. Now let's face it, our students are not talking to us anymore. They're basically chatting with us. They're basically writing. It's almost text-based in most cases. The camera is switched off, the microphone is switched off, and they're just chatting, they're just writing. So how do I make it better? When they're writing, what sort of language they're using? Are they comfortable enough? We, all of us, we know that, especially if you're a non-native English speaker, there is this tendency to be posh when you are writing. I mean, you do want to sound good. You don't want to sound good, but you don't want to write good. Okay, the language suddenly from happy becomes excited, exuberational. I don't know the words I'm saying right now, but at least that happens. So when they were immediately put into a writing mode, an online writing mode at that one, so how they're reacting to it. Another thing was what sort of feedback they're getting from me. Trust me, my bag, this chair, we have been best friends from 2020. I mean, I can't live with this chair. I can leave the bed and everything else, but not this chair, not even this earring. I can leave that as well. But I can't leave this chair. This bag is killing me. So I had to think about how I can find an easier way to give feedback that will save my back and also, well, my back metaphorically and literally, because, you know, if I don't give proper feedback, what's going to happen? So that was another thing. What about learner response? Are they responding well? Like I said, it's all text-based, and more than that, there was this reality of COVID-19. I mean, the student who says that he has some members at home who are affected by COVID. What do you tell that student? How do you get a response from that student? Second factor was student access. Let's face it, maybe we are tech savvy, but how many of us have proper devices? I mean, for once, I had to buy a proper laptop. I had to buy this headphone. It's called a gaming headphone. I didn't even know that gaming headphone is a thing. I had to buy that so that, you know, I could talk to my students properly, because all the headphones I keep buying, I don't know, they give up on me. And exactly at the same point where, you know, I'm going to get into trouble. So I had to buy a proper gaming headphone. I had to do this thing. So imagine my students, what are they doing? Now, here, the reality of the situation is that in the cities, they have good network connection, Wi-Fi connection and everything. But in some areas, students, they are only attending a semester through a cell phone, through a smartphone. So I had to take that into consideration. I'm not demeaning the smartphones here. I mean, let's face it, smartphones take cooler picture than this laptop. I mean, I would look a lot better if I was doing this session with this mobile. And so I was trying to identify the areas that where students have proper access. So how did I take this step towards success? First of all, it was connecting. The second part was learning, and the third part would be learning and applying, you know, together. Let's start with the first one. So the first one, that may make me sound like a cheapster, but I did that. I tried to find the virtual conferences which are free of cost. First of all, who wants to pay the money? Second of all, we want to, but if I get something for free, why would I pay? So, you know, that makes all the sense in the world. And all kidding aside, the most important thing was connecting with other teachers. Right now, there is no such thing as Adda anymore, like Mr. Amin said. Unfortunately, the Adda has turned into some meetings where you only have some specific points to talk about. Where at those days when teachers finished a class, came to the office and had, you know, vented out like, okay, this was this, the student did this, that student did that, and where is my shingara, somucha, chop, and other tea, and that the disgusting, you know, the tea, that raw tea that you don't want to even drink, but you are going to drink it because it's between two classes, and that tea is the kind of like a savor. So where was these days? Those days are not even here anymore. So I had to find my ways to connect with the peers nationally and internationally. As you can see, the presentations I have given so far involved UK, USA, Dubai, and in Tokyo as well. So these presentations allowed me to talk to a lot of teachers. You can see the variety in these presentations because all of these presentations were aiming for different issues. The last one that I did was changing role of teacher. That was at the University of Oxford. And this presentation was mainly about how the role of teacher has changed during this quarantine. Another one which I did in Dubai, that was about humanizing this pedagogy during COVID-19. So this was my way of connecting with everyone. This was my way, because honestly, what happened that when I was opening those conference posters, looking for the sub themes and everything, it inspired me instantly, and actually it made me study. Because other than that, when you are working from home, trust me, the bed feels like the best friend. I mean, it's like when you're at the office, you don't get on the bed when you get a break between two classes, but at home you are going to do that. So how do I stop myself from doing that? Second thing was learning and applying. Now these two steps will be going on together, and at this point I'll be minimizing the PowerPoint and I'll talk to you about the things that I did. First thing was, before I told my students to do anything, I started working on the softwares and apps. So the basics of Google Classroom and the other online tool, I started accessing those. Here come the first issue where students told, Madam, we cannot upload this certain document, or we have uploaded it, can't you see it? So all these issues came up, and I asked my institution for a demo student account, which they graciously approved, and immediately I was given a student account. And I started looking into it. Before I gave anything to the students online, I started doing it as myself as a student. Second thing is I started working on tips and shortcuts. Now, trust me, these hands hurt, like really, really hurt. These eyes, they hurt as well, like really, really hurt when you are working from home and the laptop is your only tool. So what I started doing, I started going for tips and shortcuts, the shortcut keys, for copying and pasting. I know they sound really simple, but trust me, they are a lifesaver. For example, let me show you one shortcut. So I make some PowerPoints sometimes, not all the time, but in some cases I have to make PowerPoints. So for making PowerPoints, I would go here and if I have to take a copy from a book, I would open the book first. So here's the book. And now and this screen has to remain open and I have to go to the PowerPoint. Let me go to the insert section, go to the screenshot, and you will see the option screen clipping. I'll come here. It has taken me to the actual book page. I'll select the part which I want to present in the class. Voila, it's in the PowerPoint already. I can just stretch it, I can just use it, anything I want to do. So this is one of the shortcuts that I learned, which actually significantly reduced my PowerPoint making time, especially the fact that I have to use course books in those cases. I had to learn about softwares and apps for audio and video recording. Now, like I said, it's mainly textual. Students are mainly typing and writing. To get them out of that zone, I told them to find some options, to find audio video recording options. Now, some of them, they're pretty good at it. They found audio and video recorder all by themselves. But for some of them, it was a relatively new experience and they were not very sure about what to use. So here I did something. I told them, share your ideas with me, the recorders that you think will work. And then I told them to go for some of the common ones, like the one here. Sorry. So here is the one, Vokaru. This is something I used when I was teaching at British Council. So here you can just record a voice and send the link to anybody. So this was a pretty good website. And I actually took some audio assignment from my student through this one. They just record here, they record themselves here, and they just, share the link with me in Google Classroom. So for mobile, I told my students to have a proper screen recorder. Now this one doesn't have have the one where you can show yourself, but this is pretty good. It is an AZ screen recorder. So I told my student about this one. Now here is the other one. This is apowersoft.com. Students actually use this to record themselves and do their presentation, which actually helped us because in the beginning of the quarantine, there was a lot of issue with the internet, like really problematic issues. So for one semester, I asked students to do a recorded presentation. So they use this one. The beauty of this app is that you don't have to download the app. You can just install and launch the online launcher, and then it works. So these are some of the examples of the things that I did. Then came the theory part. So while I was doing these things, I was also focusing on the frameworks and theories. Like I think by now you have already guessed this theory. This came from TPEC, Kohler and Mishra. I am actually working on this right now, TPEC model. And just like this, I have also gone through some other learning frameworks and theories related to educational technology. The reason for doing this was otherwise the whole process will be quite haphazard. I mean, I don't know which steps to follow and what to do. That's why, mainly that's why. Apps and websites for taking quiz or playing online games. Now this one, most of you may know about it, Quizzes, Kahoot. So these are the online games places or quizzes that I started doing in my class so that students, respond better. One more thing that I did was doing a bit of online courses. Now, I'm not new in this area where I haven't done any online courses before. I have done a lot of online courses till now. I did some more during this quarantine. I went for Coursera, edX, and please don't think like, okay, she's a huge nerd when there's a COVID going on. She's doing courses. Okay, she's showing off or something. No, it's not like that. This didn't happen in one day. Come on, this happened within 1 year, and still it's going on. So I can't even brag that I did a lot of things, but yes, I tried to do a bit of online courses.
True.
So next one, I started something. Now there was this situation where students did not understand what was happening when I gave frequent instructions in that class. And I know Ramshri wants to tell me that I have only 6 minutes or something. I know
Yeah, that's true. Exactly
okay.
Right.
Yes, I know. So I started my YouTube channel at this point, Learner Linguist, and over there I started posting video tutorials for my student, basically about Google Classroom, how to record themselves, and in Bangla. So all my video tutorials, they were aimed for my students at ULab mainly, but I thought, if somebody else gets some advantage from it, what's wrong with that? So I started that channel, and after that I got good response from my learners. And addressing learner needs, that also took me to another area where I can focus on their responses and focus on what sort of content I am presenting in the class. What were the main indicators of success? Number one was the amount, the type of preparation I was doing by then, because it took me less time to prepare materials and prepare lesson plans. The self-awareness, because I could predict a lot of things before the class even started. I could predict. I mean, all of us, we can predict which student is going to focus more, which student is not going to concentrate at all. We know that, but the extra focus on what sort of problem will I face, I could research a bit more. Like before this quarantine, I wouldn't be able to do that. I didn't have to focus this much on one area, but now I can. And also, of course, self-care, because when you are working a lot, you tend to take care of yourself a lot as well, because you know where you are lacking. In case of learners, they started, one of the points that I would like to mention here, they started sharing, like some of my students, they made their own video tutorial for their classmates, and mostly those were seers, I mean the captains, class captains. They said that, madam, they keep asking us so many questions, my classmates, I'm going to make video tutorials like you. I said, yeah, go ahead and let me post that on my YouTube channel. No, I didn't say that, I just joking. So they were actually, they started making their own video tutorials, and it has been going on since December of 2020. Performance wise, learners were a lot more comfortable, so their performance went well anyway. The feedback wise, there were both sorts of feedback, group feedback and peer feedback and individual feedback. And they made more inquiry, to be honest. Like learners, they can just tag me in Google Classroom and they ask me, madam, what should we do? So basically, I would say these are the three indicators of success. How do I plan to extend this? Okay, so that was the last question from the forum. So the first one I do right now is that I identify an issue. First of all, I identify what do I need to work on. So what the things that I'm facing, or the problems, or the things I plan to work on. Then I categorize them. Where do I need them? Do I need them before the lesson? Do I need them during the lesson? Or do I need them, after the lesson? The third thing that I do is to simplify. Like I said before, some of my students have access to a smartphone. Some of my students have access to a laptop. Some of my students face issues like they cannot even get a proper internet connection in their home. They have to go outside, maybe stand beside the main road, or stand in a field to get a proper internet connection. So that is one of my main motto. Whatever I give them, I try first, I actually check, okay, is it working properly? Is it going to be available in cell phone? Can they do it from a cell phone which doesn't have a lot of a lot of advantage facilities and stuff like that? Then I start applying those, and after applying, I immediately try to reflect. And it's kind of easier in my case, I would say, because when you teach similar courses, you can just apply one thing, and for the next class, before the next class, you start reflecting on, okay, what went wrong with that class? So that actually helps. Again, it goes on, I identify again, and then again I try to categorize them into sections. So what happened by then? By the end of the presentation, I'm happy to report that I survived, and I'm diving out, and not that happily. I mean, that picture was kind of like an overreaction, I'd say. I'm not that happy, but at least I'm sitting here, not standing, sorry, sitting here in the success forum and talking about my success. So that counts for something. I mean, come on. So
Yes.
that brings an end to my presentation, telling Ramsuri sir that I did not take the whole time. It's true.
No,
I only have 2
you
minutes
still have
left,
2 minutes
but
left.
I'd
Two
like to
minutes
end
left.
the presentation here. These are my references. And, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rajwana. Fascinating story, fascinating story of struggle, fascinating story of survival, and of course, the fascinating story of success. Wonderfully presented. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
question answer. There will be some questions, I suppose. Yeah, at the end. Thank you. Saraswati, please.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Ramsar. Now I would like to introduce you with Vishnu Kumar Kharkha. He is going to be our next presenter. He is an assistant dean of Faculty of Education and an assistant professor of English education at Midwestern University, Nepal. He's also a central committee member of NELTA, And on top of that, he is the president of Nelta Karnali province, and he is also pursuing his PhD from Tribhuvan University, Nepal. I think he is also going to share his experience of teaching English during this COVID-19 pandemic. Over to you, Vishnuji. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saraswati Dawari ma'am. Namaste.
You are muted.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to express my heartiest gratitude to the organizing team of Success Story Sharing from, sorry, is it visible there? Shall I make? Yeah, okay. Especially Professor Dr. Ramas Giri sir, Dr. Saraswati Dawari ma'am, and Saifa and Sagun Shrestha sir for the opportunity to share success story related to the practices of online and alternative pedagogy at Midwestern Universities of Nepal during COVID-19 period. Let me share it briefly. Respected guests and participants from home and abroad. At first, I would like to share about the outline of my presentation. Is it visible there, or shall I do something more?
Yeah, you can put it in PowerPoint mode and then present it.
Sorry. Just a minute, Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Oh, sorry. It's okay. It's okay now. Yeah, thank you. Let me share briefly about this outline of the presentation. First of all, I would will just share about the context of the story in brief. Then I will talk about the story of practices regarding the use of online and alternative pedagogy during COVID-19 period in the context of Nepal, and especially in the case of Midwestern University in Surkhet. After that, I will be talking about the best practices that we have done so far during using this online and alternative pedagogy. Then I will be just sharing about the achievement of using it and what did we get and what sort of things that we have struggled over there. And then I will be sharing some of the proofs and documentations related to the success story. And if there is anything future plans that we are supposed to extend it, I will be sharing on it, and then some conclusive remarks will be there. This is my brief presentation outline. Let me share about the context. Yes, we are very much familiar about the global impacts of COVID-19 pandemic from last year till today. Even we are suffering from it. We could not be over from the suffering from this pandemic. And last year it was almost sudden event that the government of Nepal, including other governments, declared the lockdown. As a result, we were forced to postpone the physical face-to-face classes in all the academic institutions throughout the country, and so is the case to Midwestern University as well. And since our university, as well as the other universities in the context of Nepal, as well as the school level classes are still feasible for the physical classes only, and there is no any alternative way, and that is supposed to be prepared already. And because of this lockdown, declaration of the lockdown, all the teachers, students were forced to be confined within the walls of the house only. They could not be they could not attend the class physical classes. Because of that matter, and there is no any options to to engage in teaching learning processes. And since the need of the situation is only one way, is searching for the best opportunity, best way, that is online and alternative pedagogical system. And this is the scenario, this is the context. Since why we are searching for the online and alternative pedagogy, especially in the case of Midwestern University and some other institutions in Nepal. Our programs were not designed as per the case of online and alternative pedagogy. We were suddenly forced to go to that practices, and this is very new for us, and this is a kind of challenging issue for us, and we tried our best to do it, practice it. Regarding the practices of online and alternative pedagogy at Midwestern University, as we have, I have already said that our regular face-to-face programs were postponed due to the COVID-19 impact, and after the declaration of the lockdown, after a week, even the authorities of the university, including Vice Chancellor and other authorities of the university, were confined to their own homes, and we were searching for as one of the authorities of Midwestern University and as the practitioners of the teacher, we were supposed to source any sort of alternative ways, and we decided to conduct a meeting. And for conducting the meeting, we didn't have any sort of say Zoom IDs, any sort of say even the other just Google Hangout meetings, and even we have not practiced up to that. And we have started our meeting with the Facebook Messenger group, and this is the one of the clip that I have shared there. And since in that meeting, we have decided that during the COVID-19 pandemic period, we are not supposed to be confined doing nothing. We should do something for the welfare of other people. And our Vice Chancellor shared that we have to produce something for the betterment of the community people, common people. Then we have produced the sanitizer there. I could say there in the picture as well. And beside that, we have collected the volunteers there, mobilization for any sort of risks up there, and as well as we have formed this COVID combat panel. You can see there in the website as well. And more importantly, we have decided to run the online classes. And though we have decided to run the online classes, we had not been prepared for that. We had not such infrastructures, neither we have such connectivity. We were not sure about how we are going to do that thing. As I have seen there, when we, as Ray also shared, that we have the problems. Our university is located in the remote area of Nepal, and where everywhere where our catchment area is there, we have no internet access, and we have to go. Our students need to go. They need to search for the best network, and even the teachers do not have that sort of access to the internet. And is it possible to continue conduct the classes? Is it the best way to do or not? We are confused, and even we tried our best. Why not? If we try our best, we could. It's possible, and we should be responsible for the students. We should not, go. We should do something for the students. We thought in that way, and finally we have prepared the policy for that. Midwestern University Digital, Virtual, and Alternative Teaching, Learning, and Operating System Policy Guidelines 2020, and that guidelines we have declared clearly mentioned what is to be done, and what are the things to be managed, and what are the things that are to be incorporated. And for that, we requested to all the teachers, to even the administrative staffs and students, to be in connection. We tried to collect their email IDs. If they did not have the email IDs, we tried to request them to form this email IDs, and we requested to collect the data from the students to the teachers and administrative staffs, and even campus staffs, and some other say administrative personnel, and they tried their best. They collected the students say email IDs, and they were just the students were connected in Facebook Messenger group, and we have decided to start the virtual classes, and for that we need to conduct the trainings and faculty of education on the behalf of Midwestern University, and I mean myself coordinated this event, and then a 3-day online training on developing innovative and technology-based pedagogy in education training session. We conducted training to all the teachers, and on the top of that, we have started the classes, and then it was very interesting to share that our first classes were started in the Facebook Messenger. Then we have slowly and gradually we could create some Zoom IDs. There was the MOU between Midwestern University and NREN, and NREN provided us the Zoom ID freely, and then we have started our virtual classes on even in the Google classes, Zoom ID. We tried our best, and then our teachers were our teachers tried their best, even including me. I also went. I taught online classes to the students, and even I myself supervised and monitor whether the classes are going on truly or not. And then as a result, midterm examination was conducted there. On the top of that, and we even conducted the semester end examination, and that was very interesting matter. And it was not imagine that it is possible to conduct the examination, and for that we tried to clear the link. Even you can see there in the online form, our examination management system tried best as per the guideline, and so even the Midwestern University Alternative Examination Management System guideline was passed, and accordingly they tried their best to manage, and it was not possible to manage. So regarding this outset, this scenario, what we have done so far, what best practices we did, and though we were very much familiar about the use of ICT and online resources theoretically, we have not done practically. COVID-19 has provided us that best opportunity that there was no option except using online and ICT devices for teaching and learning purposes, not only for the teachers, but also for the students. We never tried of talking about the use of ICT and online resources theoretically, but practically it was proven that it is possible to use ICT and online resources. So both teachers and students tried their best to use online resources and ICT devices massively, and even the students who do not have cell phones, they do not have any sort of say smartphones, they tried their best to buy, as it not as the phone, but as the but for the compulsion, and that was one of the smart phone was proved to be one of the best teaching materials there, one of the best way to be linked, and so teachers and students both participated there in online training, seminars, conferences, and it's easy to share to the students, to the teachers, that wherever is online seminars are going on, wherever the trainings and seminars and conferences are going on, we try our best to be connected there and learn something, how to say be linked with it and then connected with the global community. So that was one of the best practices that both teachers and students were benefited from the virtual and online trainings, seminars, conferences, and one more important thing that we have done as the best practices is we didn't have any policy regarding the ICT and online and alternative pedagogy, neither for the pedagogy purpose nor for the examination and assessment process. And during this period, we were able to form the policy, and that the policy intervention and implementation of using ICT and online and alternative pedagogy, one of the best practices that we have done ourselves, and me myself involved in that policy formation process. And I still feel pride that during this period, whatever we have done so far is developing using the self-access learning material and sharing with each other. We tried our best to develop their learners autonomy there, because the students
4 minutes left.
Oh, sorry. Best way. So similarly, we tried that to connect them by Facebook messengers, email, Zoom links, and it was easy to monitor and supervise there. I have just given there some of the proofs that we have got the responses from online survey. That so similarly, what achievement we have done so far, and it was a great surprise that we could maintain our academic calendar even during this COVID-19 pandemic situation. And yes, I have already said that students and both student and teacher got the opportunity, and me myself get the opportunity to use the ICT in teaching learning system and even the evaluation system. This is the first time that we have done so far. Similarly, and one of the online community formation community is being formed there now, even in the messenger group, even social media, email, Zoom links. Every students and teachers are connected now, and we can easily share our common things easily there. And another thing that we have found is we got the exposure, and a lot of national, international exposure is available for was one of the best achievement for us. And we tried to share, to upload our best practices and download the best practices from the global community. So I have shared that the policy formation is one of the another achievement. And finally, we have transformed from traditional pedagogy to e-pedagogy, and now our pedagogy is the blended pedagogy in our case. Some of the just sharing, and these are some of the sharing that as the evidence is what we have done so far. I don't want to discuss on it, and this is the things that even we have tried our best. We have conducted the research. Me myself is one of the researchers there. Perception issues and challenges towards the online and alternative examination system to our case of Midwestern University, and it was published in one of the journal. And then what we found, 290 students respond there. How did you submit your answer copy to the teachers in online and alternative examination system? So there are some of the what sort of things they have done so far. Did you feel easy or difficulty? Even to the students, even to the teachers we have done, and they found that a very interesting thing is that online alternative system examination system was best for them. They feel satisfactory rather than the face-to-face mode. It was a kind of amazing finding from students. So what should we do for the future? Just for 2 minutes, I think. And we need to develop our infrastructures, and we need to make provide access to the internet facility and even the some other facilities to the students, faculty members, teachers, and some others. And importantly, we thought that we need to revise our curricula that is suitable for the blended pedagogical system in our context, and we are doing that now. And we need to empower our faculty members and provide the exposure and the trainings to them to promote themselves and to involve them. Similarly, another thing that we found we are planning is to use online and alternative pedagogy system as the regular part of our teaching and learning system. And we need to go for the monitoring and supervision, and we have to update our systems and facility processing. So these are some of the things that we are planning to share to do in future. A little bit sorry for taking more time. Thank you so much for the opportunity once again.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, Vishnu sir. You rightly outlined how opportunity to go online was forced upon you, And when an opportunity like this is forced upon you, you have no choice but to survive. Failure is not an option. So when failure is not an option, you use anything and everything to survive. And that's what you did. Very well presented. Thank you very much. Now to Shagunji? No, yeah, Shagunji?
Yeah,
Please.
thanks a lot, Ramsar. Yeah, thanks all the presenters, Amin, Sarif, Fatima, for highlighting such a wonderful project, Adda in English, and Puspa Priya, introducing the mass spacing skills, particularly talking positive psychology, pedagogy, and Rejwana, oh gosh, diving in and diving out in using online tools. It was really wonderful presentation again. And Vishnuji, not only as a teacher, but as someone as the official as well, how different interventions are really useful for this alternative pedagogy. So thanks all of you for such wonderful insights. Yeah, I mean, now this is the time for the floor, but I have a quick comment and then the question to begin with. So for Adda team, Amin, Sarif, and Fatima, what I found is in Adda in English, uh, like as Addabas, right? Addabas are mentees, as they are taking control of their own learning, let's say, as topics can be of their own choices. So I can see here the learner autonomy, the bit of learner autonomy as well. They are being responsible of their own learning and taking control of their own learning. So Amin or the team, do you want to add anything as
Yeah,
regards?
your observation is correct. Yes, learner autonomy, and so they talk about anything and everything. But when they talk on one-on-one basis with mentors, mentors are very experienced people, so they try to find out what are the interests of these adabas, and then they talk about those topics and introduce new topics which they are passionate about. And these people have learned so many different things. Yes.
Thank you. Now the floor is, yeah.
Okay, the floor is open for discussion.
Yep.
So yeah, the participants can ask questions to presenters, or the presenters can ask questions to each other.
Yeah.
So
Or
the floor is open now.
Yeah, sorry. If other participants have success stories like connected to what presenters have presented, you too can connect them, and then briefly, and you can ask the questions as well or make comments. So over to you all. Anyone would like to? Any questions for the first team or comments for the first team? Yeah.
Just to make it light, I'll ask Rizwana Islam whether she can swim or not.
Hello, sir. Sorry. Hello, Mr. Amin.
Yeah.
My bad.
Do you know how to swim?
No, I don't. I don't know that. I don't. That's what this metaphor was for me.
You have to learn.
A great question. I mean, great question.
No, I learned to swim after I got drowned in a river. Okay.
Okay.
So
don't want to wait for that one. I'd rather try now.
My mother said, no, you have to learn to swim. So you have to. Everybody should learn to swim. That is my
Look, she survived, so you have to give credit to Rajwana for that.
Sure. No, her presentation was wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
So if no one has question at this point, so I would like to ask a very brief question to Vishnu, sir, Vishnu Kumar Kharkha, the last presenter. You mentioned about the policy intervention as well. Even if as a teacher, it seems like we don't have a kind of crucial role for policy intervention. But do you think how useful are the institutional policies to manage any kind of crisis situation? And as a teacher, what kind of role can a teacher have for such small policies within the institution, as per your own experience?
Yeah, thank you, Sagun sir. It's a kind of great question. I think as a teacher, what we do is we regularly try our best to satisfy our students and to involve in students' learning achievement and activities only.
Sure.
And so far as the questions of the policy, always guide us everything. So once there is no policy, there is no point in practicing, because policy is the theory, and we have to link with this policy to practice. So in our case, just like in my experiences as well, since I'm also the teacher and teaching at the classroom, as well as since the PUP in tenure-based practices, I am in the policy making position as well now. So what I found myself is that when teachers are doing their best, our policy do not recognize. And even the teachers are doing best, even the students are doing best, and there is no policies which could which can address the best practices. And even so is the case to policy as well. If we even policy is addressing, and even the teachers and students, and they are not trying their best. So in our cases, we did not have we didn't have the policy of online and alternative mode, just like a blended practice. We have just the physical face-to-face classroom only. And during this period of COVID-19 pandemic, and especially in lockdown period, and that perspective was totally postponed, even blocked. And what to do? And we didn't have any policy to go to online and alternative way, or we have not thought in that perspective. And there is no option as well. So in that way, we instantly tried our best to formulate the, to intervene with the policy, and then we requested to the teachers. Now we have the policy. Could you please implement it in practice? So there is, I think, in my opinion and in my practice myself, also there is, close link between the policy and the practices that we do, and we should, these are the two sides of a coin. I think and we have been doing that one.
Thank you, Vishnu, sir. I would like to.
May I ask? Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Just a quick question to Rejwana. A great story of personal survival. In your strive for success, did you have any institutional support?
I'm Pinterest. I'm a teacher.
So, sorry, the audio is not very audible.
Okay.
No,
I heard
better.
you.
Yeah,
yes,
good.
I actually, like I said, for me, it was more for like striving for something better, because we already had at ULab, we already had this training on Moodle, on Google Classroom. So we kind of had these ideas before, but it was before this COVID, it was mainly about taking assignments or turning in different tasks, this sort of thing. But when the COVID started, at that point, we had to completely switch online. So in case of the institutional support, I would say we had this from the very beginning. We were one of the lucky few ones who had this institutional support from the very beginning. We were allowed to experiment and also shared the result of the experiment. I mean, otherwise, why do you think I would go this far?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
How?
The situation, the context is quite the opposite, as you may have guessed. In Nepal, in many institutions, there is virtually no institutional support available. So they have just working right from the very scratch on their own, the teachers. Okay, Saraswati, you had a question.
You just said the policy and the practice, these two things, the gap between these two things, that cannot be only filled up by the teachers. There has to be enough devices and technology for solving that.
Agreed.
Vishnu sir can do a lot, but Vishnu sir can only do so much. To push him further, he needs those devices and stuff.
Yeah, correct. Saraswati, you had a question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yes, during Rejwana's presentation and Vishnuji's presentation, I was just wondering around, the digital divide we have both in Nepal and Bangladesh. So I was thinking of from, I was wondering around students' access to technology. So because I'm really interested in learning more about, the initiatives your universities might have taken to address, the issue of digital divide. So what kind of initiatives did you take to to provide equitable access to education to your students. So you might have faced so many challenges in that area. So could you please tell me a little bit more around that area if you have any?
Should I share it first or
Should I break the
Yes.
silence and answer this?
Who is this question directed to? Sorry.
To both of them, Vishnuji
Both of
and
them,
Redwana.
Vishnuji
Yeah.
and
Redwana
Redwana.
first.
Yeah.
I was like, who is going to speak up first?
Yeah.
Now it's your turn at first.
Ladies
Oh,
first.
no, please, you go ahead. Okay, I think I have to.
Yeah.
Like what you were asking about, the first thing was to choose a learning platform which would be easily accessible to all the students, and they can even use it when the internet speed is not that good. That was, I would say, the first thing. There were a couple of trainings, and those trainings were mainly for the teachers to how to access those. So after that, after we started those online trainings, then teachers actually came up with the point that the students need these sort of specific trainings as well. So it started from there. And except those trainings, one more thing was to identify the student need and the student issues. Like I told you, what Vishnu sir is going through, I'm no stranger to that one as well, because we have some students who are going through this situation, like people who are living near the border. So in those areas, I have heard that the internet connection is relatively slow than the areas in the cities. So for those students, we had to think about alternatives, like if they cannot submit or type in their computer for a long time, in that case they could scan the script with Adobe Scan or something and then send it. So there were always thoughts about alternatives as well. The main thing that I would say our institution did, and as teachers, as representative of the institutions, we did, was to identify those needs and try to solve those in our own way. Vishnu sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. I think I should share something. Is there anything else? Yeah.
Would you like to add anything? Otherwise, I have a follow-up question for both of you again.
Yeah,
okay. Sorry, Vishnuji?
Just let me share about our queries of Dr. Dawari. Let me share a couple of sentences only. One, regarding the digital divide, of course, this is the very, crucial terminology. I could remember Dr. Prem Phank here when I was conducting one of the seminar there and facilitating, moderating. He raised this issue in that during this discussion session. And right now, when we are trying our best to search the best way, or just like for surviving purpose, and without preparation, without any sort of managing the equipment and providing the access to the students and even the teachers, we were forced to do so. Now we have the period, we have the time, we have the money, we have policy intervention.
Yeah.
We have to address where the gap is. So in my opinion, in the name of digital, say on an online modality or alternative modality, we should consider the issues of access, inclusion, and achievement as well. But what I think is that when we go in practice, there are we can search for the best alternative ways to address those issues as well. This is the case of policy intervention, as well as the funding, as well as the governmental and institutional attempts, I think. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question from Mr. Vishnu. A simple question. Is your university a public university or a private university?
Thank you, sir. It's a public one, government-funded university.
Okay, so that's good. We are represented both by a public university and private university of Rizwan Islam. That's good.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
So Gopal, Ram sir, if you allow me, Gopal Prasad sir has a question for both Vishnu sir and Rizwana ma'am.
Sure.
And in the chat box, they have written that my Gopal sir has written that I think we started online alternative ways in the past during extreme pandemic situation. So what's happening now? This is something he wants to know. Are they only for emergency? Are there any regular efforts now? So 3 questions are there for, Rezwana madam and Vishnu sir, I think, because he has written the name of Vishnu sir and Rezwana ma'am.
Rezwana ma'am, I think you should start first.
Okay. Yeah, enjoying that also. Okay, so what's happening now? Basically, starting from an emergency remote teaching, I would say we are going towards a sort of hybrid learning. That's how I see the whole situation, because right now students are pretty comfortable, and let's face it, some of the meetings are actually better in Zoom. So, that's there. So basically we have what right now the blended learning, I think post-corona, in the post-corona world, we will go for a more of a blended learning, because the one thing that specifically happened in our institution, that usually we always approach the professors abroad, the educators abroad, someone who can share their ideas with us. But during this pandemic, this increased. Like from my center, from the Center of Language Studies, in the past couple of weeks we have gone through 2-3 webinars, and those were about research, those were about taking classroom management, this sort of things. So are they only for emergency? No, I won't say they're only for emergency anymore, because this also opened an area for the learner and for teachers to participate from any situation. I can talk to you about different students who are doing their regular work, and they're doing the classes as well. I'm not saying they're the most they have the most concentration, but I would definitely say that they have accepted it very well, and they're trying to survive with it. And the regular efforts, I would say, from my institution, I have seen that they are planning to extend this opportunity. What came as a sudden shock, what like Vishnu sir said, kind of like a force that was, I don't know, I call it divine force or something, but what came as a force on us has kind of turned into a crown sort of thing, so opportunity and other stuff. So yes, of course there are regular efforts going on at ULab. I would definitely welcome everyone to follow our Facebook page, our centers page, and our universities page. You will see that there are different efforts to connect more students, to connect teachers, and to have an online specific mode that is also been in the process. So that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank
In
you.
this,
Vishnu
thank
sir.
you. Yeah, thank you. I totally agree with you, Rezwana ma'am. And more than that, to be very honest, for us, it is like, as Gopal sir said, it has been, just proven as it is just like in the case of emergency only. Now we have been again started teaching physically, face to face, and we have started teaching in physical mode only. Now there is a less use of online open online and alternative way. To be very honest, like this, I feel also like that. Why we have not been using now today after a long period? We have just started linking in Zoom ID and in this meeting only. And otherwise, if the case is normal, we are just trying our best to be in physically appearing and then doing like that activities, not as the regular part, but as the it be as the regular and blended way, I think.
Yeah, like to share an Australian update on that. Remember, Australia is somewhat in a better position in terms of managing the pandemic. So we are allowed to have now face-to-face classes, but now the virtual teaching and learning has become a new normal. So despite the fact that we are allowed to have face-to-face learning, what we are doing, or trialing, if you like, is what Rejwana just mentioned, hybrid teaching and learning. So we are doing things, part of the teaching online and part in class. So at the moment, what is happening here at Monash is that some of our students are here onshore in class, and some of our students are abroad. Yeah. So we are trying to use technology to connect with both groups of students, and therefore trying to adopt, if you like, adapt what we call hybrid learning, and Rejwana has already mentioned that. My question, I think Saraswati was trying to get there. In all of this, remember Pushpa talked about emotional well-being of the students. And unless they are emotionally positive, learning will not happen. So if, emotions, negative emotions work as a barrier. So that's why I think the intent of Pushpa's suggestion. So in all of this, technology and digital divide or whatever, using whatever means is available. And Rejwana just pointed out, and Vishnuji also pointed out that, the connectivity is huge, affordability is huge, accessibility and all of that. Did you experience any emotional well-being issues on your part as well as your students' part? Did you worry about your own emotional well-being or health well-being in general?
Thank you, sir. I was also going to ask that question, actually. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either of you, Rejwana,
Yeah.
Vishnuji, and Pushpa.
May I go first then?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yes, there was, let me start with the students first, because when we started this whole thing, in the beginning, the biggest challenge was to talk to our students and get them on board, because while they were interested in doing online classes, they don't want to miss out on one semester, they don't want to miss out on anything, but the response level in that class, that was definitely a bit concerning, I would say. And to solve that problem, like the reason that my channel actually opened a whole channel, and the reason that I was doing all these things, that one of the reasons was to get them out of that shell, or get them out of that scare area. So they were really scared about using some of the technologies, because you can't expect a generation of video editors, TikTok makers to suddenly jump into Google Classroom and behave accordingly. That that doesn't happen overnight. So device wise and technology wise, there was definitely an emotional barrier, a barrier of fear, a barrier of awkwardness, and of course the discrimination, because caused by the device. I was, it's not related to my class, but definitely I'd like to mention this. I was doing a research recently, the last one, you saw that on the Oxford. And I talked to some of the teachers who did not have direct access to their students. They only took classes on Facebook. So imagine for those students how difficult it was. So this was the situation going on. In my class, the main problem was how they are approaching and how they were responding to the whole situation. Like some of the students, still they have parents who are suffering from COVID, or they are suffering from COVID. But in this case, no machine device can actually work. The only thing that can work are the teacher and the students together approaching this issue, or together addressing it, and talking about it. That's something definitely I would say that in case of emotional, the COVID related thing came first. To be honest, that's the first thing that student talked about mainly, because they heard this news all the time, and the students I teach, they're all adults, so I can't just put them away from everything and tell them, okay, everything is going on well. I have to talk to them about the reality. Every news that comes up, like I can assure you, tomorrow we will talk about the death news in the royal family. So that is the reality of the situation. They know about everything. So that was one of the that this is how I approached the problem.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else would like to make a response? Yes.
Yeah, may I add? Then finally, Pushpaji will
yes, please
finalize it. Just regarding this emotional attachment and creating a kind of I like to say technological terror. A kind of fear, a kind of emotional tension is going on, is found to be going on inside the student's mind. Something is missing, something that I could not get the link, or if something is missing from my side, what is happening there, if the class is missed today, and what is happening there, what something missed, what something I lost. that sort of thing is going on. If there is no internet access or poor connectivity problems, even some electricity problems, the students feel, I think, very anxiety, and even the teachers, they feel very much, kind of, irritation, and feel anxiety themselves. And technology, sometimes created the terror, technological terror, if it is not easy to say, whether it is too easy to say or not, shall I say or not. But there is a kind of problem that is created, created by the online and alternative way. And just like we cannot minimize that terror and that sort of thing among the students and with the teachers, because they it is due to the technical matters, and it's beyond to us, I think. Over to you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. I would like to add something here.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Yes, so like emotional crises get along with both teachers and students in the very initial beginning of COVID crisis. Like in case of ladies too, like double pressure was there to manage family, children, and to go through online classes, and inefficient knowledge of ICT was a great challenges that we as a lady teacher faced. And then after, other thing is like even after getting some of our ICT knowledge, like the students are going through a psychological distress in the form of anxiety and many more others. So basically they find like a very ill trend with facing video and go through answers like these cases. And as Nepal is a developing country, and in many rural areas, remote areas, there is not access of net, and many students start having sometimes chat that we are having a poverty, we are under poverty line, even the non-net SSS. And though we are getting some part net, we are finding a lot of problem of having this. The students who can afford it are already in a profitable way. They are gaining a lot of things. They are already imbalanced, but we are lacking these things actually. So this really made them a very emotional, and they were suffering with many kind of depression problem too. And time to time, some students have shared to me as well through phone. So there is first of all, as a Regina ma'am said that, like the first or in the beginning of the classes, every time in the very initial time, the student started with having a fear of COVID. What happened? Like 5 to 10 minutes class just goes for their related with of COVID, fear of COVID. So, and then other net problems goes along at the very mid time, net goes. And when it disconnected, it creates a lot of tension. So these are kind of emotional barriers that we have faced, and it is ICT also sometimes makes emotional imbalances, and we need to go accordingly how to manage and how to deal with it. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, Sagun. Yes, Kasi sir.
Kasi sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Namaste, everybody. It's wonderful to hear about what you have been sharing here, and it's all about alternative pedagogy. That was what I was also working on all this year. And good luck. I'm so glad that you came up with this. All my pedagogy is transformative pedagogy that I recently theorized and got published. I call it transformative, and it's all about learning and connecting life with learning. And this is what you have done. Wonderful team. Yes, I really congratulate you and look forward to working with you all anytime in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir. Yes, Sagunji, please.
Yeah, some announcement, and at the same time, Sarif has raised the question, and I have a question to you as well, Sarif, so you can answer both. So first thing, because we have already, going over the time, so we'll wrap this discussion within max 10 minutes, number one. And after 5 minutes, I'll be sharing right now the Google Forms, which has only 3 questions. So please, we would like to, request you to submit your answers very briefly in this form. It will help us to, improve the session further as well. This is here now in the chat box. Now, Sarif, the question to your team, actually thinking from the, thinking for the benefits of the NEBIS teachers as well. So the question is, ADA in English seems very interesting project. So if Nepalese teachers want to learn about Adda in English project more, where can the resources be found? Number one. Number two, if teachers from Nepal want to, get connected to those mentors of your project as well, so how can they, how can they get connected to the mentors? Is there any way will you be helping those teachers who would like to, bring Adda in English project in Nepal as well? This is my question. Yeah, thanks.
Or maybe students who want to join your group and improve their English.
Yeah.
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 Well, all right. Thanks for the questions. Mr. Shagun, please, I missed your first questions due to the network frequency.
Sorry, the first question is very plain and straightforward. Like, if they want to learn about Adda in English project more in detail, is there any resources, the web resources, web platform where they can find, Adda in English project in detail? Or do they need to get connected to one of you? Or what is the, right way to do so? Yeah.
Yes, already. Thank you. It's a wonderful questions to me. For establishing this Adda, like if you like to drive in other countries in Nepal, then of course we might be connecting to this situation, to this connection or communication, and of course we have a plan to future. We'll think of. We'll just this is our feasibility that we are going to. We are going to create a platform on online, like you said, that whether we can make a website or not. Of course, already we have a website of our mentor, Mr. Amin Rahman. That is already we are using this one for our Adda, and we can make an individual platform. And can develop a website for this in future. No problem. Yes, we can think over it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and your question, sorry, you have raised your hand. Your question.
Yes. I have a question to Ms. Pushpa Priya, madam. The question is that, Pushpa Priya, madam, are you there, please?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Madam, my question is that in this COVID situation or before COVID situation, usually we see that students have to go through different mental crises, or you said that anxiety or other stress inside the classroom. So you just use the term emotional intelligence. So in emotional intelligence, it's a matter to train the students. So regarding the fluctuation of these emotional issues, what measures are you taking or you are applying to the students? Inside classroom, outside classroom? Thank you.
I am adopting the method both inside and outside the classroom. First, I started working on myself, like sometimes even we can go the emotional imbalances. And then after I went through some psychologists' ways of Daniel Goleman and other who talked about and informed about emotional intelligence. And then with these techniques, how to be emotional intelligent, how to channelize our emotions in a positive direction, like some yoga, some breathing exercises, and even I'm getting inspired with some of the religious philosophers and go for breathing exercises and work on it. And then after when the presentation is calm, composed, and even the students who are in a aggression or whoever in finding some kind of anxiety, this kind of things make a transformation. This kind of things makes a positive change to them, and they learn. And even I sometimes make students do meditation, short meditation, and then after some part of yoga exercises, and also make them to know about, be aware about the accepting the emotions, first to know what emotions are actually, and we need to know about it. Like some students even don't know what kind of emotions do you have. If they speak, how do you feel? I feel overexcited, or I feel very happy. This is also an emotions. So sadness, depression, first you observe it, then you need to go for self-management, and then after self-management you need to go for empathetic ways, like try to see in other places. These kind of domains really help you. Like the presentation goes with the 4 domains of emotional intelligence. We have worked on it somewhere. And then even some of the colleagues are psychologists, in fact, and they are working in different, even in clinical hospitals, and they are working in different international conferences. With their help also, I made some students to be emotional intelligent, and even I give some idea and I collaborate with them. And this part really worked well for our well-being. And once we are in our well-being state, emotional well-being state, definitely it make a good changes or positive changes in this context, sir.
All right. How do you monitor it? How do you monitor it?
I just monitor it I make the students aware first about its definition, and then after making them practically know about their ways, like as I said, you to make aware, first of all, being aware of the emotions, and then after being aware of the emotions, then they started managing it, regulating it, and then after managing and regulating it in a positive way. Yeah, suppose for example, when they are sad for some think something positive that happened good in their life, try to terminate, like try to divert the mind over there. Means if any negative thing is occurring, so divert the mind from negative to positive, then definitely it helps. Or go for breathing exercises, this kind of some certain techniques. Yeah, I'm going through, and even I'm taking the help of some psychologists over there who are really helping this, because I think the thought process is very important. We tell the students study, do everything, but first they started being a yes, sir.
Thank you, Pushpa. Thank you very much. Look, we do have a lot to talk about, a lot to share, a lot to hear from each other. But remember, this is not this may be the end of this session, but this is not the end of our discussion. So we can keep talking about it and sharing our stories in the Shagunji. He has given us a link. Yeah.
Edmodo, and then the presentation sections of our website as well, which is open to all. So what we will do immediately after by the time we will do it tonight here. So what we'll do is we'll upload the slides of your presentation, your details, and then the recording as well in our presentations section in the web page, which can be openly commented, so that we would also have comments from other interested people who would go through your presentations as well. And as we are in a closed group, we'll continue our conversation and discussions in Edmodo, which we'd love to have. That's it. Thank you. Yes.
Good to see you all, friends. Saraswati Madam, Giri sir.
Yes.
Yeah, just
thank you, sir.
A couple of minutes. Now I request Saifa to give a vote of thanks and conclude the session.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thought the program
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So dear presenters and the participants, along with the other organizers, thank you very much for your time and effort for the session. We had 2 presentations from Nepal and 2 presentations from Bangladesh. So Amin Rahman, Fatima Farid, AKM Shariful Islam gave the presentation on Adda in English, and we could learn how Adda can improve the communication skills of the learners, and how even using technology it is possible to create a link between the mentor and the mentees who are living in different contexts, but to work together, they can work together and they can improve their communication skills. Our second presenter was Pushpa Priya ma'am from Nepal, and we learned a lot about how a teacher can take the initiative to even help the students in terms of their emotional intelligence, along with taking other initiatives regarding the development of presentation skills, of course, along with the other contents. So the title of her presentation was Celebrating Students' Success in Mass-Facing Skills. We had the presentation from Rezwana Islam, who shared her story of self-development and shared how she developed her technological pedagogical knowledge using different online platforms and also attending different sessions, and how it helped her as a teacher. On the other hand, Vishnu Kumar Kharkha sir's presentation from Nepalese context was on technology in teaching and practices of online and alternative pedagogy, a case of Midwestern University during COVID-19 pandemic. So from the presentation, we saw how the policies that an institution takes can also facilitate learning even during this situation of emergency. So from all the stories, we came to know about some of the strategies which can be applied in both the contexts. And I really enjoyed the discussion at the end when we found that whatever strategies Pushpa ma'am used can also be used in Bangladeshi context, even if she applied it in Nepalese context. On the other hand, whatever strategies Amin sir and Rezwana Islam have applied in Bangladeshi context can equally be applied in Nepalese context. We could also learn from Vishnu sir's presentation about different policies and practices. So we actually thoroughly enjoyed all the presentations. Thank you very much, dear presenters, for sharing your stories. We could learn a lot from the presentations, and I hope, and also I believe that other participants could learn a lot from your presentations too. So we would like to invite you to attend the next session as well. So I would like to end the session here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
If you want
much,
to communicate
Thank
with
you.
us more, yeah, you can email us, but also please use the Edmodo group for further discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really a